Welcome to PC Woods Kids Tech Talk. Today we're looking at part 2 of my review of the Sapphire HD6850. In part 1, we reviewed the specifications. Here in part 2, we're going to do some benchmarking. Now, the card that I got is an engineering sample. It looks identical in every single way except for the stream processors are set to 1120 instead of 960. Okay, the card runs for about $180 US. Okay, and like I said earlier, it's basically meant to replace some of the 5770s and even the 5800 series, some of the low-end 5800 series I would say as well. Now looking at GPU-Z here in Windows 7, you can see all the specs, the unified shaders, okay, the stream processors set to 1120 as opposed to 960, but everything else is identical, okay, the memory, the GPU core clock, the memory, frequency, all of that is identical as you would get in the retail version. Now, here we are with the benchmarks. In 3D Mark Vantage, the GPU score is 14030, which is really good, really high results. Very impressed on that without overclocking it at all. You can see here how it beats the 5830 that I reviewed, the 5850. Even it comes close to the GTX 460, the 1GB model. So very, very good, considering that this only uses a 6-pin power connector, 500-watt power supply. Here are the results in the games, of course. Starting off with Dirt 2, you can see how terrific the results are. No complaints from me running everything on maxed out high settings. Of course, I'm getting terrific results on default, never mind on overclocked. On some games, when you overclock it, you get 10 frames per second and more in performance increase. Now here is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and you can see again the jump in performance. Depending on the game, you might get even more frames per second, and you really notice it, especially when you max out all the settings. Crisis Warhead always gives every video card its run for the money, and you can see here how it stress tests the card to the max when I have everything on enthusiast settings. And of course, I always like running the DirectX 11 benchmarks for Haven. Here you can see the two resolutions and the overclocked. Not too much of a difference there when I overclocked it. You get a few frames per second, but not much out of that with DirectX 11 when it comes to overclocking. And here are the results of Batman Arkham Asylum. As you can see, terrific results. Again, about 10 frames per second minimum in increase on average, which is really good. And also on Stalker Clear Sky, you can see here at 1680 x 1050. Okay, we'll start off at that resolution. At default clocks, these are the frames per second that I'm getting on those different results. And then as soon as we overclock it, you can see that there's a boost of about, again, 5 to 10 frames per second. And this is on ultra high settings, of course, all on high settings. Now, again, at this resolution, 920 x 1080, here are the frames per second. And again, when we overclock it, you get an instant boost, again, about 5 to 10 frames per second. And I'm doing very light overclocking here. I'm not increasing the GPU voltage or anything. All I'm doing when it comes to overclocking is increasing the GPU clock and the memory clock. So I went from 775 and from 1000 to those values that you see there by just going into the AMD Overdrive utility, the ATI Overdrive utility, and using the slider bars and just slide them over and testing the custom clocks, and that's it. And you can see the results there that I'm getting from all those games. You can increase the fan speed, of course, make it run really fast to keep it cooler, but I didn't really see the need to do that on this card. On this card, I left it at defaults and basically on auto, and there are the default and overclocked GPU temperatures and fan speeds. As you can see, these are really excellent, and the fan is super quiet. So if you want a gaming rig that you want to keep things low power, well, this is a 6-pin power connector. It's got low temps, low energy requirements. Terrific. I definitely recommend this card. I give it an Editor's Choice Award for this one, not just because it has the latest technologies for the display port, like I mentioned in part 1, the HDMI 1.4a and the 3D support now, but also because for the price, about $180 US now, you can get excellent overclocking and performance that beats many of the other cards, plus you get the next generation in technology support. So definitely recommend this card if you're looking to get the latest and greatest and you're not going to be spending over $200. Of course, it's under that. And by overclocking it, I'm telling you, it gets really close to even the GTX 460, okay, from NVIDIA. It doesn't beat it, of course, but still, it only uses one 6-pin power connector as opposed to two. So there you go. Definitely recommend this one if you're looking for that. And I'd like to thank Sapphire Technology for providing it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And thank you for watching.